Sometimes things are not always as they appear to be. Could this child really be suffering from epilepsy, asthma, hearing impaired, vision impaired, cancer, leukemia, paralyzed from the waist down, muscular dystrophy, or was she being raised by a mother who was a compulsive, pathological liar? Let's find out right now. Good evening, my Cajun cuties, and how are y'all on this wonderful Friday night? Yes, it's me, Anne Marie, aka the Cajun Crime Queen from Carriacou, Louisiana, Cajun born, Cajun bred, and when I die, I'll be Cajun dead. I hope after this video that y'all like, subscribe, and comment, and don't forget to press on that notification bell so y'all never miss a video from me, Anne Marie. I hope y'all have a beverage. Hope y'all have a cuddle partner or a cuddle fur partner. Those are the best. I love the fur partners. They're always so loving. And I hope all of y'all had a very Merry Christmas. And I hope also that y'all have a wonderful New Year's. And y'all drop down in the comments and tell me, what are y'all going to do for New Year's Eve? And today, who are we going to talk about? Drum roll. Brrr, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. This is a very sad story, and I'm going to tell it to you today because, as we all know, she was released from prison yesterday. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born in Golden Meadow, Louisiana on July 27, 1991 to Dee Dee and Rod Blanchard. She was a beautiful child. They nicknamed her Possum because, y'all, if I watched all the documentaries and I read all the books, and she was so cute as a baby. She had these little like tiny eyes that looked like a possum. Her hair was sticking straight up. She was just, oh, she was beautiful and the cutest thing ever. But Dee Dee and Rod didn't stay together, and before Gypsy was born, they split up. He knew he married Dee Dee for all the wrong reasons, just because she was pregnant. As little as 3 months old, Gypsy started developing problems. Well, this is what Dee Dee told Rod, that she had sleep apnea, that she was going to need a breathing monitor machine, and it just started escalating from there. She had asthma. She had muscular dystrophy. She was paralyzed from the waist down. Anything you can think of, this little girl was diagnosed with. And the worst part is, Dee Dee said that Gypsy had a chromosome disorder, and it was basically stopping her from developing like a normal child. So Gypsy was always held back from doing certain things like cheerleader, dance, just running up and down the street, having fun with her friends. She was always very isolated because she was so sick all the time. Dee Dee was telling everyone that Gypsy would not live past 18. She said that she had too many medical issues. And she went through great lengths to try to keep Gypsy in this juvenile role. And at the age of 8, Gypsy was involved in a motorcycle accident with her grandfather where she received a bruise on her knee. And after that, Dee Dee told Gypsy, the doctor said you have to stay in this wheelchair, you can't walk, because of the accident, you have to stay here, you can't move around. And Gypsy also stopped going to school in the 2nd grade because Dee Dee said that she had too many illnesses, that she was going to homeschool her. And the only reason why Gypsy learned how to read was by reading all the Harry Potter books. Dee Dee was also arrested several times for writing bad checks, for theft, for stealing from her friends and family, and she was even putting Roundup killer in her stepmother's food, which led to a chronic illness for about 9 months. And this is even terrifying. I don't even know the word to say, but this is worse than ever. In 1997, Dee Dee's mother died, and they said that Dee Dee was denying her food, so that everyone was accusing Dee Dee of maybe killing her mother by not feeding her. Y'all, how can you deny anyone food, much less your mother? Someone you're taking care of, that depends on you, wouldn't bathe her, wouldn't feed her? That's just, oh my God, that's so heartbreaking to me. And it's crazy, And Dee Dee was taking Gypsy all over the hospitals. She went to Tulane Hospital in New Orleans, Children's Hospital in New Orleans, telling the doctors, I know Gypsy has muscular dystrophy. Did the muscular biopsy? They said, no, she doesn't. And Dee Dee was saying, yes, she does, no matter what. Dee Dee also told the doctors that Gypsy was having all of these seizures. So they prescribed her anti-seizure medication. The whole thing went just out of control. And from that point on, Gypsy had several surgeries after that. A feeding tube being placed in her, whatever you could think of. This little girl was always in the ER, always having surgeries. When Dee Dee was confronted by her family and friends about stealing money, her and Gypsy relocated to Slidell, Louisiana, where she received public housing, public assistance, because Gypsy had all these health issues, which she needed help taking care of Gypsy. And it was kind of crazy because in 2005, our beautiful state of Louisiana was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina, which relocated Gypsy and Dee Dee to Missouri. Now, this is the sweetest thing ever, and shout out to Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity built Gypsy and Dee Dee a beautiful pink house, y'all. It was so cute. It was darling. It had a ramp for her wheelchair, wide doors for Gypsy to get through. They even gave her a car. They had huge social media out there. They had huge outlets. I mean, everybody was going crazy over this because it was wonderful. This little girl's dream was coming true. And she made the statement, Gypsy, that fairy tales always have happy endings. And it's not just in movies and books, but she had this fairy tale life. And she believed in all these wonderful people. These people were amazing. Make-A-Wish Foundation. And she was receiving free airline tickets, free trips to Disney World, even meeting several celebrities such as Miranda Lambert, who even wrote Gypsy a check out of her own personal account for $3,500 to help Gypsy and Dee Dee out, which that is just amazing. That just shows how much people care. And the weird thing was, on Gypsy's 18th birthday, Rod called Gypsy and wanted to tell his little girl happy 18th birthday, which we're all excited about. All of us dream about being 18, and it's one of the happiest days of our lives. We're free, we can do whatever we want, we think. But Dee Dee was like, hey, Rod, don't tell Gypsy she's 18. She thinks she's 13, and with her mind developing so young, it's going to mess her up because she still thinks she's a child. And he was like, okay. And he just went along with it because he had no clue what was going on. He was in Louisiana. They were in Missouri. Dee Dee was also going around telling people how Rod didn't pay her any money, that he was this big drug addict, which he was sending her $1,200 a month, just faithfully to take care of Dee Dee and Gypsy. It was very heartbreaking to know all of this was going on. From 2005 to 2014, Dee Dee brought Gypsy to the ER over 100 times. And every time Gypsy would go or just have a regular doctor's appointment, Dee Dee would tell her, sit there, don't move your legs, don't say anything, play with your Barbie doll, act young, play with your stuffed animal, don't move a muscle. I'm going to do all the talking. And if Gypsy would open her mouth, Dee Dee would get crazy upset. Gypsy knew never to say anything. But I know what y'all are thinking. I know exactly what y'all are thinking because I thought the same thing, y'all. Absolutely. Look, I'm getting mad, yeah. As y'all all know, I'm around doctors 24/7. Hi, my name is Anne Marie. I am a marketer for Apex Home Health in Louisiana, the best home health company ever. Anyway, I wanted to talk to these doctors and say, like, how can a mom just say that her child has something and like someone would just prescribe the medicine like it's nothing? Like that's to me, that's not normal when you have to run all these tests before you do all this stuff. But they all told me the same thing. Yes, they agree. Tests need to be run. But the bad thing is when there's a child who the doctors think is not all there and the mother's saying they're having seizures or they stop breathing at night, The only thing the doctors have to go by is a mother's word, because these children cannot speak. So the mother has to say all of this stuff, and Gypsy thought that all of this was actually happening to her, that she didn't breathe when she would fall asleep sometimes. Gypsy didn't know. So these doctors have to count on the mother's word. But all of the doctors that I know all say that several tests had to have been run, because you always want to know what's going on with a child. But in the meantime, they just have to take the mother's word and wonder and say to themselves, I mean, is this going on? We don't know, but the mother's telling us, and they have to go by a mother's word. The only thing Gypsy knew she could do was walk. Gypsy thought she had all those other illnesses. She didn't know if she didn't know she didn't have them, because her mother was telling her she didn't have them, and the doctors were prescribing her medication. But Dee Dee would tell Gypsy as soon as she got to the doctor, don't move your legs. Do not move your legs. We're going to the doctor. Do not do anything. And several doctors started thinking something was wrong. A lot of them really thought something was wrong. And Gypsy had a feeding tube. So Dee Dee was giving her a lot of the medication through the feeding tube. So she could have given her whatever she wanted. Also, Gypsy started getting sicker and sicker, because all these medications she was taking, she didn't need. And then Dee Dee started shaving her head and bathing her in a sink. And when Gypsy would cry and say, why are you shaving my head? She goes, well, you have leukemia, you have cancer. It's going to fall out anyway. Let's just keep it shaved. Y'all, what a monster. What a crazy monster. Who would do this to their child? You're supposed to protect your children. They're begging us to protect them. And y'all know me, I'm a helicopter mom. I will sit outside and wait for my child to come home, even though she's 18 and she has to be home by 10 o'clock. You want to protect your child. So in my opinion, that's crazy to me, to want to hurt your child and make her go through all of this. Well, there is a thing called Munchausen's by proxy. Munchausen by proxy involves a caregiver who actually induces illness in their children, and their goal is to feel some kind of emotional gratitude, looking for sympathy, attention, care. It is a form of child abuse. Now, as I was digging into this case, because y'all know me, I dive, tread water, jump off the diving board, and I noticed that Dee Dee was the youngest of 6 siblings. She was younger than all the rest of them. And a lot of the siblings were interviewed, and they all said the same thing. We all had to have jobs as soon as we turned 15. Nothing was given to us. We all had to work for cars. But Dee Dee never had to work, and her parents just gave her a car. She was very, very, very spoiled. She got whatever she wanted. Whatever she wanted, she got. The only thing that I can think of involving this case is, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, I think when Gypsy was born, not long after she was born, Dee Dee's mother passed away in 1997, which is around the same age as when Gypsy got in the motorcycle accident. I think that the death of her mother maybe kind of messed her up. I don't know. But if you look at the timeline, that is when Gypsy really became, paralyzed from the waist down, has more issues than ever. I think that Dee Dee wanted attention. I think she wanted to felt sorry for, oh my God, my daughter has all of these issues. Poor me, because her whole life she was given whatever she wanted, and now that she was older and had a child, her mother was passed away, she still wanted that attention and that love. While I was watching the documentary, Dee Dee's siblings said that Dee Dee was suffering from the same symptoms and the same disease as Dee Dee's mother had, which is Munchausen by proxy, which I didn't know. And every time you watch a new documentary, there's something new. The siblings said that Dee Dee's mom wouldn't let her go outside, wouldn't let her play with other children, would always say she had all of these medical issues. She slept in the bed with Dee Dee every night. She wouldn't let her out of her sight. And her siblings think that trait was carried on to Dee Dee, and Dee Dee was doing this to Gypsy. And every time Dee Dee would take Gypsy to these doctors, It was always a different medical history. If she would go to a cardiologist, everybody in their family had heart attacks and died. If she went to a neurologist, everybody had brain cancer and died. So the doctors don't go around checking medical history. They don't go to different houses and say, hey, is this true? Is this true? They just have to go by the word of who's filling out all of the documents. But in 2007, Gypsy went to a neurologist named Dr. Flasterstein. And he was the first one that said, I think this mother is suffering from Munchausen by proxy, and I think that Gypsy is fine. Nothing's wrong with her. He contacted Gypsy's previous neurologist, and that neurologist remembered Gypsy and said, I agree, it's the same thing. The doctors, they wrote it down, they documented the findings, but there was nothing they could do. If they would report it, they would have, even if they reported it, they would have to show all this documentation. And basically, a lot of the reports that they report is neglect on a child. But Gypsy was overprotected, so they didn't know what to do. So they just documented it, which is terrible. I think that should have been looked into 100%. And if you watch all the videos with Dee Dee and Gypsy when they're talking, they're smiling. Gypsy's in her little wheelchair looking cute as ever with a little hat. God, that was a precious child. She was precious. She still is precious. You always saw Dee Dee either holding her tight, hugging on her, or holding her hands. Now, we always think people like us, that's loving, that's sweet. You want to feel emotional and protected, especially by your partner. You just want to feel loved. But what Dee Dee was doing was holding her hand and hugging her tight was a form of control to Dee Dee in front of media. And Gypsy said if she said something wrong, she would squeeze her hand tight. Or if she had her arms around her, she would squeeze her tight. And that's when Gypsy knew never to say anything. Zip it. Don't open your mouth. And one day, Gypsy found her Social Security card and noticed she was born in 1991 instead of 1995. So she knew at this point she was 20 years old, which is crazy. That little girl had no clue. She thought she was 5 years younger than what she was. And she loved all these sci-fi conventions. So she went to a sci-fi convention. Dee Dee let Gypsy roll around by herself in her wheelchair. Dee Dee was there, but she let Gypsy just roll around and do her thing. Gypsy met a man. They hit it off. She even liked him so much that she told this man what was going on with her mom and the situation at home. This man said, well, come move to Arkansas with me. Gypsy runs away, moves to Arkansas. Her mom tracks her down, threatens to call the cops on this guy because she's claiming Gypsy's only 15. And when she gets home, y'all, she smashes Gypsy's computer and cell phone with a hammer, y'all, and looks at Gypsy and says, if you do this again, next time, I'll smash your fingers with this hammer. Oh my gosh. This is so crazy and devastating for a mother to do this to their own child. It was a very rough year for Gypsy. When Gypsy was caught with that other guy in Arkansas, Dee Dee handcuffed her to the bed with a leash and would beat her with coat hangers, even her palm, slapping her, beating her severely. This poor innocent child that didn't even know what the hell was going on, but she was taking the beatings and never fought back. Never fought back. That's how sweet and innocent she was. She thought she deserved what she got because she didn't know what was going on. Then Dee Dee convinced his lawyer that Gypsy couldn't make any decisions, so she had to be taken over by her mom, and every choice, everything she wanted, she couldn't make any choices on her own. So Dee Dee was in full control of Gypsy. So Gypsy said if she tried to go to the police, they would just think she was crazy. Oh, well, she's not all there. Her mom has her. She signed over her rights to her mom because she can't think for herself. So Gypsy didn't know what to do. Gypsy fell through every crack in our system. Everyone failed her, including her father. Her father would call her and try to talk to her, but Dee Dee would always have an excuse. But why didn't Gypsy call her father and say, hey, Dad, I'm getting beaten. I don't know what's going on. I need help. Please come and get me and save me. But we also don't know what the hell did Dee Dee tell Gypsy about her dad. Did she say, oh, he doesn't love you, he doesn't want you? What was she saying that Gypsy was afraid to call her father? The whole thing was just insane. Dee Dee's sister even called Rod, Gypsy's dad, and said, hey, I'm just letting you know, Gypsy can walk. So he was furious. He called Dee Dee up and said, no, that's a lie. She tries to walk, but she can't. She's in a wheelchair 24/7. Don't worry about my siblings. They don't know what they're talking about. Nobody knew what to do. But in 2014, Gypsy got another computer. She stuck in another computer. And she went on a Christian dating site and met Nicholas Godejohn. They both were crazy about each other. They were both liking each other, talking constantly every day. You know how it is at the beginning. All you want to do is talk to that person and see what they're doing and see how they're doing. And just want to know if they're thinking about you. Like, you know, where you want to go if you ever get married. What kind of honeymoon. But within 4 days, they were a couple, y'all. They were in love. They were happy. They were wonderful. But Nick was into this BDSM. And Gypsy didn't know what that was, but she started taking sexy pictures for him, posing, you know, looking sexual. She wanted to please Nick in any way she could. So she started doing all of this to fulfill Nick's desires, which a lot of us girls and guys do when we want to please someone. So Gypsy was just over the moon in love with Nick. In 2013, Nicholas Godejohn was arrested at a McDonald's for watching porn and fondling himself. And when he was searched, there was a huge knife found on him. And Nick also claims to have several different personalities. This is the thing, y'all, before I go into anything further. You may have full control over your child or a person or anyone. But when you reach a certain age as a teenager, they start having these desires. Their hormones are raging. They having all these feelings. They going crazy. No matter how much control you have one, those sexual desires are not going to go away. It is life. It happens every day. It's what we all go through as teenagers. We just want to rip each other, you know. But because our hormones are going crazy, and Gypsy was feeling these urges, and that was forbidden. Bars and sex was 100% prevented from Gypsy. Dee Dee wouldn't let her do anything. Dee Dee prevented everything, including bars, sex, anything. Well, Gypsy was so in love with Nicholas Godejohn that she invited him to this movie, Cinderella, and they were gonna meet there. And I mean, y'all, Gypsy was all decked out in her Cinderella costume. She had her wig. Well, Gypsy told her mother she had to go to the bathroom, and her mother was like, okay. So she rolled out, and her and Nicholas had their first sexual encounter in the boys' bathroom at the movie theater. And this result of Dee Dee not letting Gypsy have a boyfriend, it resulted in a deadly and horrific incident. Not too long after this, Gypsy told Nick what was going on at home and what all this stuff, and that she felt trapped. She wanted to get away from her mom. So Gypsy asked Nick, can you kill my mom? He said yes. He wanted to protect her. He loved her. He didn't want his beautiful, wonderful girlfriend to be going through all of this. He wanted to get her out of that. So he took a Greyhound from Wisconsin to Missouri. On June 9th, Gypsy bought the supplies, waited for him, and he went to Gypsy's house and stabbed Dee Dee 17 times. It was a brutal attack while she slept. Gypsy was hiding in the bathroom with her hands over her ears not to hear anything. She was terrified. She heard her mom screaming for help, but she said she didn't know what to do. And Nicholas said, I really want to essay your mom. I want to do this my way. Gypsy said, no, please don't essay my mom. You can essay me instead. So they had a sexual encounter in the bathroom after Nicholas stabbed Dee Dee. It was crazy. That night they packed up all Gypsy's stuff. They went to the Days Inn motel down the road. They slept there, and the next day they took a Greyhound to Wisconsin to go live with Nick's parents. But before they did that, y'all, before they stepped on that bus, they mailed an envelope with the murder weapon, a knife, to Nick's house. That's how they wanted to get the knife to his house. They didn't want to walk around with it, so they mailed it to his house. On June 14th of 2015, a post was made on Dee Dee Blanchard's page that said, "That bitch is dead." Now, everyone thought, oh my gosh, have you been hacked, Dee Dee? What's going on? This doesn't seem right. And everyone was worried. Everyone was freaking out. They went to her house. They found Dee Dee Blanchard was dead. She was murdered, and with 17 stab wounds all over her body. How just brutal was this attack? It was brutal. Now, that post, they tracked it back to Wisconsin, Nicholas Godejohn's house. And Gypsy was actually the one that posted that. I think Gypsy wanted her mom to be found. I think she was worried about her dead mother just laying over there and nobody even knowing what was going on. That's why I think she made that post. And that's when people started looking for Dee Dee. They found Gypsy at Nicholas's house. They brought them both in for questioning. At first, Gypsy denied everything. She didn't know what they were talking about. She didn't say anything. Nicholas, on the other hand, y'all, he sung like a bird. He just blah, 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 blah. He was spitting everything out, word for word for word for word for word. But he said, I'm sorry. I'm trying to protect my girlfriend. She was getting abused over there. She was put in a wheelchair. He was saying all of this. And Nicholas was diagnosed with Asperger's and autism as a young child. And they said he would never develop more than a 15 or 16-year-old child, that he was going to stay at this level for the rest of his life. So he didn't function at a normal level, but he wanted to protect his girlfriend. He was madly in love with her. He said everything that he did, and even told them, Gypsy wanted me to kill her. She wanted to be free. Gypsy wasn't acting like a child that just murdered her mother. Gypsy was acting like a child that was free. People like us, we don't think to ourselves like, oh my God, if something happened to our parent, we would be devastated. We would feel just, God, this person loved me and protected me, and now they're gone. But Gypsy, on the other hand, wanted to get out of that grip and that lock from her mother. So in the first time, she felt free. She had a boyfriend. She was making friends. She was walking around. She was eating. She was doing everything under the sun that made her feel happy. Now, Gypsy pled guilty to, she finally admitted everything. And she pled guilty to second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison, only having to serve 85% of her time. And she also, got to be with her dad and talk to her dad and kind of, reunite with her family. Nicholas Godejohn received life in prison, which, I'm sorry, y'all, I don't agree with. I don't think Gypsy should have got any jail time. I do think Nicholas should have got jail time, but I think, 5 or 10 years? And then maybe sent to a mental facility to help him with his problems? What do? Someone has all these mental issues. You know they have autism and Asperger's. So what do? You just, bye, send you to jail. Done. Okay, next. No, he needs help. Get him the help he needs. Teach him a lesson. Nobody did. Don't just throw him in prison. I'm sorry. I just think that everybody failed those two. I really think so. It definitely, don't ever kill anyone. Please don't murder anyone. But I just think that in their mind, they didn't know what they were doing. They were worried. They were freaked out. So, it's my personal opinion. I think that they should help these two children, not just throw them in jail. No, I do believe Nicholas should have got some jail time, because he actually knew what he did was wrong. But I think he also needs some type of help. And as y'all all know, Gypsy was released last night, which I was so excited. At 3:30 in the morning, I couldn't even sleep. I was so excited. She walked out of jail. Her husband was waiting for her. Gypsy married in prison on July 21st of 2022 to a wonderful man, and she's happy. She went buy some shoes yesterday. She was just having a good old time doing her thing. I thought it was wonderful. I couldn't wait for December 28th. I could not wait for it. So I'm excited. And she said she has several plans moving on with her life, even wanting kids, which is a really good thing. My final thought, y'all know I always give y'all my final thought. My final thought is, I think several people failed Gypsy, especially the doctors, especially her father, especially Dee Dee's family. No one checked on this sweet child to see what was actually going on. They just took Dee Dee's word. Okay, you're taking Dee Dee's word. I'm talking about Dee Dee's family, her father, her siblings, and her stepmother. Y'all are taking Dee Dee's word that Gypsy has all these illnesses. But in the meantime, she's going to jail from stealing from y'all, lying to y'all, doing all this stuff. They hated her so much that when she passed away, which I think is 100% wrong to say this about your child. I don't care what they did. You know what her parents and her siblings said? Take her ashes and flush them down the toilet. What? What? Who says that? Who says that about their child? But that's how much they hated her. But if you hated her so much, why did you believe her when she told you that Gypsy had all these issues? And Gypsy's dad, you think if somebody's telling me, hey, don't tell her that she's 18 or you can't come see her, she doesn't want to talk to you, you think as a parent, I'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. No. I have to talk and see to my kids every single day. Every single day I got to talk to them, especially if they were living in a whole nother state, which would never happen. They're my babies. I don't even know what I would do without them. But her dad was just like, oh, okay, and believed everything? That's just crazy. And Gypsy even made look, I'm getting too excited. I'm getting too excited. Ooh, let me calm down. Gypsy even made the comment that being in jail was 10 times better than being in the care of her mother. She said prison, she felt so free. She made friends. She went work out. She wasn't confined to a wheelchair. She wasn't getting beat every day. She was doing her thing, living her life. Early 20s, just being a typical early 20s girl, having friends, eating, just doing wonderful things when she was in prison. But with her mom, she couldn't do those things. I don't know, y'all. I think that so many people failed this child, especially the doctors. They should have looked into all of this stuff, and no one did. No one went further and said, is this what's going on? You know, I just think the doctors failed her. Her father failed her. The family failed her. Everybody, even the neighbors. But the neighbors didn't know what was going on either. They had no clue. They had no clue. They thought Dee Dee was wonderful and Gypsy was in a wheelchair. I hope that y'all actually enjoyed this video. We did find out some new stuff about Gypsy that I didn't even know a lot of the stuff until I watched documentaries. I hope that y'all like, subscribe, and comment, and don't forget to press on that notification bell so y'all never miss a video from this Cajun cutie, Anne Marie. I hope y'all all have an amazing New Year's, and remember, tell me down in the comments, what are y'all doing for New Year's Eve, because I need some ideas. But all in all, I always end up New Year's Eve the same way. Tucked in my bed, sleeping by 9 o'clock. Never do anything, because now that I'm just turned 40, I'm too tired. I don't even know how I would act if I had to go party right now. You know what I mean? But I want to thank y'all so much for all the love and support that y'all have given me throughout the months. And I just want to let y'all know that today is the release of my 25th video. Yay! I'm so excited. I love y'all all so very much. And remember, always to say, stay safe. I love y'all all over the moon. Y'all just mean so much to me. So much. And y'all keep watching. And thank y'all from this Cajun Crime Queen, Anne Marie. Bye.